Okay, and we're live. So, welcome to another episode of enLIGHTen with Div and Deb. And today we were going to chat about decision making. That's been a theme that's coming up quite a bit in coaching, challenges with making decisions.
And well, so some are finding that they do make decisions, but they have a lot of emotional energy from the time that there's a choice point until they get to there, and they would like that to not be so disturbing and disruptive, that it not be such a disruptive process, that they don't worry so much. Another is just not being able to choose between two things that seem equally valuable. Like, well, this one's good because of this, but not so good. And this one's good because of some other thing, but not so good. And they're both kind of about the same. And then just having an inefficient decision-making process. So get to a good decision, but it takes days, and there's all the flipping and flopping, and that's not efficient. So they're the kind of three styles of problem with decision making that I've been exploring. So what causes these kinds of things? You got any ideas about what the cause of this problem might be?
Well, when people are trying to make the right decision or the best decision, firstly, they're presupposing that, there's one that is the right one, and they really hold themselves back in that process. That it's the same structure of when people say, oh, I want to find the one, and the amount of strain and stress that puts on them in relationships. Like, is this person the one? So that's what comes to me immediately when you ask the question. What might that be related to?
Yes. So there's some interesting science around good decision making.
Yes.
So I agree with you. The biggest number one problem in making decision is a trick of the brain that makes us think there is one choice that will be better than all the others, and we must find that one so we can decide. What the science shows us is that there's an optimal point at which it's the point you make the decision that makes a good decision, not the decision itself.
Yes, and this point is about how much data we've collected, because it is important that we do a bit of research, collect a bit of data, because when we make a decision and we just kind of don't give it any consideration, that also is not wise. There's over consideration, overthinking, not helpful, not useful. Spinning our wheels, analysis paralysis, and the opposite end is just kind of fly off the cuff, don't actually contemplate what are some possibilities. And so yes, this research puts the percent, that's the point at which
it is exactly 37%. Do you want to unpack what 37% means?
Yeah, so when we have 37%, basically any more data we collect after that. So when people think that, oh, I gotta learn more, any more after 37%, there it's actually going to, if we imagine a graph, right? So we start collecting data.
So what's on the y-axis? What's on the y-axis? What's on the x-axis? On the y-axis is the amount of time and the amount of information that we're going to gathering information over time. And on the x-axis is the quality of the decision. Right, go.
Yeah. quality of the decision is the y-axis and the x-axis.
Oh, sorry. Why is this way? Is it? Okay.
Tail. That's how I remember it.
Okay.
From I think so. That was the shortcut. That's what I would use. Is the tail is this one. Could be wrong. It's been a long time since someone asked me, but
We've got one axis here measuring how good the decision is, and we've got one axis here that's is measuring how much we know and how much time we're spending investigating. We can call them A and B if we want. The letters don't matter.
From what I recall, I'm doubting myself now, but from what I recall, the y-axis is the vertical and the x is the horizontal. That's how I code it into my mind. The y has the tail. It's the same way when I do left and right, like left just you go like this, and that's
looks like an L. Yeah. Okay. Good. So now we've digressed into memory strategies. We can come back to the.
So basically, as we continue to collect information, the time it takes us to collect information, the more that we collect up until we get to the point of 37%, that is where the quality of the decision making is. And basically after that point, the decision making starts to what?
Decline. It doesn't get better. The outcome, so, we're calling this best decision. It's not that the decision gets better, but the quality of the outcome you get from the decision declines. So 37% of what?
Of what you look at. So basically this research was looking at apartments, from what I remember, the number of, when you're going to buy a house, the number of open homes that you look at, let's say 37 out of 100 open homes. Like some people would keep looking, but it's at that point, whatever you decide, this is 37%. I'm going to do X amount. I'm going to collect data from, let's say, if I was to do, I'm going to track trends from a dozen different coaching sessions. Then what would 37% of that be? You basically decide at which point how much data you're going to collect, and at that point you is the point at which you make a decision based on what you've collected so far.
Yes. So in this TED talk that you're referring to and looking at finding a home, they look at all of the houses that are on the market as 100%. Mm-hmm. Let's say it's 10. Mm-hmm. And then you would go to 3.7 of them, mm-hmm. which would be 4, because you can't just look 3.7 of a house, one would imagine. Maybe you can. And then you will choose the very next one that meets some of your criteria. So, of course, if you've seen 4, the 5th one is a dud, then that's not part of the decision. You don't want that house. If the next one is one that is somewhat pleasing, meets some of the criteria, just make the decision to buy that one. And then what happens in our mind? Why does that become the best or a good decision? Do you recall what happened?
No, I actually don't recall why does that become, because from what I remember, we've satisfied the bit that's like, I want to know that I'm comparing what's out there, and we haven't gone too much to the other end, which is bogging us down with too much.
Yes.
So basically,
something really exciting happens in the brain once we've made a decision.
The reward. Yeah.
So why do we want to be deciding or choosing something like, I want a new home, or I want a new job or car or partner? Why? Not for the actual partner, house, car, job itself, but for the feeling it will bring us.
That's right. It all comes down to the neurotransmitters that we're after.
That's right.
We do.
So once we decide, I'm going to go with that one, the whole system gets behind the decision and makes the thing we've decided on feel right for us, so that we get that feeling that we want from the purchase or the decision.
How does buyer's remorse fit into that?
Buyer's remorse would come in because of the bias in the brain to think that one thing, the thing out there, is the thing, is something about it that will give us the feeling, rather than recognizing it's my bringing that thing into me as part of me and my ownership that then gives me the right configuration mentally to love the thing. Think about parents with children. I quite often come back to baby stories, right? That baby can be a puppy, a kitten, a human being, whatever. Once they are yours, whether that is, a teacher who takes ownership of her class, these are mine, or as I said, a pet, all of a sudden they are beautiful. And they're more beautiful than the neighbors. We're not allowed to say that. But this one is just, you tell me about Yongacha. Is he your
The
pussycat?
best. The best.
In the whole world? But you do not have that feeling about them the moments before the decision. The decision is, okay, this is now mine.
It's
And
an
that,
important thing to differentiate between. It is a very important, because that's the thing that we do on the inside. Once we make the decision, we make it the best decision on the inside by claiming it as ours. This
yes,
is my choice.
yes, this is now mine. And so buyer's remorse, or a decision remorse, comes from not truly making the decision. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do this transactional thing about it, but not like, okay, this is it. This is my home now, or my partner now. And
doubting. And so it's the same.
Yep. And if we could know this, the result comes from that, this is now mine. Let me bring all that I have to it. That's what we do when we buy the house, right? Right, this is mine now. And then you start to go, and I want that wall out, and I want to paint that, and I'm going to bring a lounge in, and oh my goodness, we could do this, and what have you. That's a form of bringing yourself fully to the decision of the commitment. So I would say no, there is no best decision. It's a best way of committing to, or owning, or bringing into yourself the decision that is really important.
And an optimal point at which decisions can be made.
Yes.
And an optimal point at which decisions can be made. So
yes. So don't have to do impulse things like, new shiny thing, let me have it. You can take a bit of time and look around, and that 37% thing, have a bit of an experiment with it and see how that goes with some little decisions that you want to make. What will I have for dinner? What's 37% of the choices in the house to consider? Or what are 37% of the options there in the supermarket? Speak of yogurt, hello, darling. Yeah, that's it. Very powerful if we can feel more confident in our decision making, and hopefully that science has helped.
Yeah, absolutely. Really important topic. I'm glad that we explored that today. Any final words before we wrap up? Anything you want to add?
No, but it would be lovely to have some results of some experiments. We'd be very open to hearing what happens as you apply this. Absolutely.
Share with us the results of your experiments. Pop a comment in the comments below, and we'd love to know what your what you're experimenting with. Until next episode, bye for now.